This letter reached the Office of Anomaly Safety on the evening of October 19th. It was addressed only to anyone who still listens. The envelope was damp, its corners softened by moisture, the paper creased and faintly marked with what looked like mud, or something close to it. When our staff unsealed it, a thick animal scent escaped, sharp and sour, like wet fur left too long in a dark room. Inside was a letter written in blue ink, the handwriting shaky yet careful, as if each word fought against trembling hands. It came from a 16-year-old boy named Evan Mills, a resident of Zone 4. The postmark dated it 3 days earlier. By the time it arrived, everything he described had already happened. We logged the document, recorded the odor, and sealed it under containment, category domestic presence type. For the record, what follows is a direct reading of Evan's message. Viewers are urged to stay calm and remember, our safety protocols exist to protect you. If you detect a smell of wet fur indoors or find strange tracks near your home, report immediately. Begin transcript of letter, Mills 04Z4. It was raining the first time I saw it. The kind of rain that turns everything into one blurred wash. Umbrellas, footsteps, voices, all melting into gray. I was unlocking my bike outside the school when I noticed it standing by the wreck. A dog, medium-sized, white, its fur plastered flat against its body. But it wasn't shivering. It didn't move at all. It just stood there, watching me, water dripping from its muzzle like it had been waiting. At first, I figured it might be lost, but when I shifted, its head turned, slowly, precisely, tracking every step I made. I didn't think much about it then. Maybe it was just hungry. I got on my bike and rode home, but I kept glancing back. It was still there, at the corner. Same posture, same stare. The next day it showed up again. This time when I started walking, it followed me. Not too close, just far enough that I could hear the soft pad of paws behind me. Each time I turned, it froze, tail down, body perfectly still. Mom said it was probably a stray searching for food. Dad told me not to worry, but I don't have a dog. We never did. That night I woke to a sound, a faint, wet scratching at my window. Then something heavier, breathing, slow and deep, coming from beneath my bed. I told myself it was just imagination, but when I leaned over, the smell hit me again, that wet fur scent, thick and sour, like the paper you're holding now. It hasn't stopped watching me since. October 13th. Something's wrong with my parents. When I came downstairs this morning, Mom was kneeling by the back door, setting out a bowl of water and a plate of leftovers. She said, "Buddy's probably hungry after last night." I asked who Buddy was, and she looked at me like I'd said something cruel. "Your dog, Evan. You've had him since you were little." I told her we never had a dog. Not once. She just smiled, but her eyes looked wrong, like she was forcing herself to remember something that never existed. Later, Dad came home carrying a bag of kibble. He threw the door open, letting the cold air rush in, and called into the dark yard, "Come on, buddy! You must be starving, boy!" I stood behind him and whispered, "Dad, that's not our dog." He froze for a moment, then turned toward me, his eyes glassy. "What are you talking about, Evan? He's family!" That night, I heard them talking quietly in the kitchen. My name kept coming up. Then I heard something else. The soft click of claws on tile, steady and deliberate. It passed my door, stopped, and stayed there. No breathing, no growl, only silence. I didn't sleep. I couldn't. Every time I shut my eyes, I saw that slick white fur and those still staring eyes. They've started saying, "Buddy's missed you," but I don't remember him. I don't think I ever could. October 15th. The house doesn't feel like home anymore. My parents talk to it more than to me. Every night they put out food, fresh water, even leave the TV on so Buddy doesn't get lonely. But I've never seen it eat. The bowls always stay untouched, just the faint smell of earth around them, like damp soil pressed into the floor. Mom hums now when she sets the table. She places 4 plates, one for me, one for Dad, one for her, and one extra at the end. She'll smile at the empty chair and whisper, "He likes spaghetti, remember?" I don't remember. Last night I woke up again. My window was slightly open, cold air spilling in. On the carpet, muddy paw prints, darker toward my desk. They ended right where my letters were. The pages were damp, like something had touched them. I checked under the bed, nothing. This morning, Mom came into my room holding something. A collar. Old, cracked leather. She said she found it under my bed. My name was on the tag. Evan. She said it belonged to Buddy. I didn't take it from her. I couldn't, because when she held it up, it was wet, as if something had just been wearing it. I think it's learning about me. Every night, it gets a little closer. Each morning, there's more mud on the floor and more things that don't belong to me. October 18th. I tried telling someone. My English teacher, Mrs. Larson. I wrote a short note. "Something is wrong with my family. They think we have a dog. We don't."
I slipped it under her door before class. That night, my parents sat me down. Dad held the letter in his hand. He said Mrs. Larson called. He smiled like everything was just a mix-up. Mom's voice trembled as she said, "You're just stressed, Evan. You've always had Buddy. Sometimes you forget things." I wanted to scream. At school, everyone looked at me differently. My best friend Aaron pulled up an old photo on his phone. Us at 10 years old, sitting on my front lawn. Something was beside me in the picture. Low to the ground, white, blurred at the edges. "See," he said, "you've had him forever." I don't remember that day. I don't remember that thing. When I checked my phone gallery, the photos had changed. Pictures from last week, walking home, eating dinner, lying in bed, all the same. Except now, something's there. Behind me. Always behind me. In one picture, taken in my room, it's standing in the corner. The flash caught its eyes, not glowing like an animal's, but shining back like two round mirrors. When I tried to delete them, the screen froze. Then the phone buzzed, and a new picture appeared. Me, sitting on my bed, holding the collar. I didn't take that one. October 21st. I haven't slept. I don't think I can anymore. Last night I heard the sound of nails dragging softly across the floorboards. I didn't move. I didn't breathe. When my eyes adjusted to the dark, I saw it, standing in the doorway, perfectly still, shoulders hunched, head tilted just enough that I could see the shape of its snout. It didn't breathe. It didn't blink. I watched the red numbers on my clock change. 12:03, 1:19, 3:47, 5:56. It never moved. 11 hours, just staring. Sometimes in the quiet, I heard it, a faint clicking, like teeth tapping together. Not a growl, not hunger, just that slow rhythm of jaws flexing and patience. I tried calling for my parents once. They didn't answer. Or maybe they did, and I couldn't hear over the sound of that clicking. When the sun finally rose, the doorway was empty, but on the wall beside my bed, pressed into the paint, were 4 deep scratches, spaced like fingers, not claws. It knows I'm afraid. It knows I'm writing this. It doesn't want to hurt me. I think it wants to be me. If anyone at the office gets this letter, please come soon. Please don't let it inside again. It's getting better at standing like me. Field agents arrived at 6:47 a.m. after receiving a distress letter from Evan Mills, age 16. On entry, responders noted a strong stench of damp fur and decay filling the air. The living room showed signs of sudden struggle. Chairs overturned, drawers pulled open, and a half-cooked meal left on the counter. All 3 members of the Mills family were missing. In Evan's room, investigators found claw marks gouged deep into the drywall and floorboards, spaced like the steps of a human walk. On the desk lay a pile of letters, his communications with the office. The last page stopped mid-sentence, the ink dragging downward as if the pen had been pulled from his hand. Beside it was a crumpled notepad, scrawled in uneven writing, Mom, Dad, Evan. Beneath it, a 4th name had been written, erased, rewritten, and erased again until the paper tore completely through. DNA testing from the site revealed a mix of human epithelial cells and unidentified keratin tissue consistent with canine presence class anomalies, entities known to survive through recognition. These beings mimic familiar pets or domestic animals, embedding themselves into collective memory. Once accepted, they feed on acknowledgement, consuming identity rather than flesh. Audio recovered from a damaged baby monitor in the house contained 11 straight hours of static, broken only by rhythmic breathing. At timestamp 10:56:43, a voice is described as low, calm, and without gender, can be heard whispering the name Evan 3 times before falling silent. OAS Safety Bulletin 2147A. Public notice. Residents in Zone 4 and nearby sectors should record the names of every household pet. Keep this list visible and unchanged. If you notice a pet acting abnormally, do not engage. If a name appears on your list that you don't remember writing, do not say it aloud. Do not call it. Do not go looking for it. And above all, do not let it see you realize it doesn't belong.